So let's continue for today's topic, my dear friends. I hope every one of you have heard my previous session because I'm reading Anatomy of the Spirit book, which is written by Caroline Myss. And in the last session, I have shared the concept where Caroline have combined the three traditions, which are chakras from the Eastern tradition and the Christian sacraments and the 10 sephiroths. So all these share the common purpose, and that's what we have written on the book, and which is what I have shared in the last session, if every one of you have remembered. So today I'm going to discuss about the first chakra, which is the Mooladhara, and where the sacrament is the baptism and the sephiroth. So, yes. Here, the thing is, like, we'll learn about the tribal culture, and we'll know also about the tribal power, sorry. So the thing is, the word tribe is not only like a family, but also it is an archetype that it has connotations beyond its more normal definition. And tribal also connotes like group identity, group force, group willpower, and group belief patterns. So everything, the whole belief patterns, the whole group's willpower will be affecting the tribe. And if the tribe gets influenced, then the first chakra is where we have to work upon. So the first chakra, which is also grounds us. So it is also our connection to traditional belief patterns and also supports the formation of identity and a sense of belonging to a group. So in order to connect to the group chakra, one should also listen, for example, to national anthem, or for example, just observe an athlete receiving a gold medal at the Olympics. And, some emotions will be triggering you. And when you are aware of those emotions, then you will understand that your body is generating the response, and that will be your tribal chakra. Or even witness a marriage of someone that you really care about. So these are like, when you observe, you will really know like where your body is generating a response. And here the thing is like energy connection, where it gets affected on this physical body is like spinal column, rectum, legs, bones, feet, and immune system. And also, the first chakra is the foundation of the emotional and mental health. And emotional and psychological stability originate in the family unit and early social environment. So various mental illnesses are also generated out of family dysfunctions, including multiple personalities, obsessive-compulsive disorder, depression, and destructive patterns like alcohol, for example. And what is the connection? What is the symbolic connection that we can see here? So first chakra, Mooladhara, always the energy manifests in our need for logic, order, and structure. And this energy orients us in time and space, and also to all of our five senses. Sorry. Yeah. I just wanted to, yeah. So now you can see also my pointer, where I am and what I am reading. So as a children, usually children always perceive these senses through the physical world. And first chakra gives the literal perceptions and causes to take things at face value. And also here, the thing is, we also need to be completely aware of the relationships that we are having and also the relationship with us. And then the Sephiroth or sacrament connection is that where one will begin the life's journey. And this is what which I have also discussed in the previous session, that the Sephira of Shekinah, which is the symbolic of the spiritual community of all humanity, and to the feminine spirit of the earth known as Gaia. And the symbolic meaning of the sacrament of baptism is to honor one's biological family, because that was the sacred and divinely chosen by ourselves. And what are the primary fears that we'll be seeing here is like physical survival, or if you're abandoned by the group. Now, these are the fears, and also loss of physical order. And the strengths will be, again, tribal or family identity, bonding, tribal honor code, support, and loyalty. And the sacred truth that we all have to learn here is the concept which, again, it has been discussed, which is called all is one. So when we begin to discover that all is one, we start life within tribe or family. And to be part of a tribe is the primal need, since we are completely dependent on the tribe, which is mainly for the survival needs, food, shelter, and clothing. And as the tribal beings, we are energetically designed to live together, to create together, to learn together, to be together, and to need one another. And each of our tribal environments from our biological system, and also we form the tribe with our co-workers, the bonds with our friends, and these are the essential physical settings within which we can explore the creative power of this truth. And no one also begins the life as a conscious individual, because everyone starts learning from the group or from the tribe, we say. So let's see through some examples, my dear friends, because in the tribal culture, the beginning life will always be like we become connected to the consciousness. And also we will be observing the strengths or weaknesses, or if we have beliefs, superstitions, or fears. It is always dependent on the tribe that we are raised on. The tribe means even our family belongs to a society, or the tribe is just the same here. That's what when Caroline says about the tribal. And through our interactions with family and other groups, we learn the power of sharing a belief with other people. And we also learn how painful it can be if we are excluded from the group, which also means that our energy is getting depleted. So we learn as well as the power of sharing a moral and ethical code, which is being said to us from generation to generation. And this is all we have developed all these patterns through years. And these are the ones which provided a sense of dignity and belonging to us. I also have to say here, for example, we should be aware of with whom our connection is representing. Either we are having the positive experiences or the negative experiences. And the epidemics are a negative group experiences to which we can become energetically susceptible if our own first personal chakra fears and attitudes are similar to those held by the culture's overall Mooladhara chakra. And it also reflects our immune system. And this is where we have to be very careful about the surroundings that we are having. And let me give another example here, which also describes the perfectly about the tribal culture. For example, it's not an example, sorry. In the mid of 1930s and 1940s, there was a polio epidemic, and in October 1929, the American economy crashed and the Great Depression began, which affected the whole country. Whole nation. So in describing how the American people felt, the journalists and politicians or the workers, everyone have been crippled by the economic disaster. And in the early 1930s, the polio epidemic came up, and symbolically, the whole nation, the whole people, I mean, the people in the entire nation, their energy were getting depleted little by little because fear is tremendously raging in everyone. Also, here the other thing is when the tribe's energy is having fear, children also absorbs their tribe energy. And here the American children were as susceptible to the viral disease to the economic disease. And when we say all is one, so when an entire tribe becomes infected with fear, that energy extends to its children. It's not just family, it's the entire tribe that gets affected. And here, the author also again gave such a wonderful example. So when this has been came up, it took like a physical tribal event and experience of physical strength. So World War II to heal the American tribal spirit. Imagine the World War II came up, and only after that, America have healed with this polio. So there, the people felt the sense of heroism and tribal unity, supported by the sudden increase in jobs, restored power, pride, power, and honor to each tribal member. So by the end of the war, the American nation had assumed a global leadership role again. And in fact, United States became the leader of the free world because it developed the nuclear weapons. And with that shift in the consciousness reflected a healed tribal spirit, the polio virus could be defeated. So this is how, friends, like someone's loss. I also have listened to the concept of Patriji recently, that someone's loss is someone's gain. And that is what it happened. These countries has been affected tremendously, and at the same time, America has healed by itself. And here, the feeling of powerlessness within the tribal culture, whatever it may be, this is where everyone gets impacted biologically, and it takes lot of courage to also come out and think with the perceptions. And also we have to know that the sacred truth here is all is one. And so our respective tribes also introduce us to life in the world. So they teach us that the world is either safe or dangerous, abundant or poverty-ridden, and it's also a place to take from and give it to. So our tribes activate our thinking process. And this is what we should know. Our spiritual power grows when we are able to see beyond the contradictions inherent in tribal teachings and pursue a deeper level of truth. So each time we make a shift towards the symbolic awareness, we have to positively influence our energy and biological systems. And we also should contribute the positive energy to the collective body of life and the global tribe. And this is where it is called the spiritual maturation or the spiritual homeopathy. So this is what some of the examples, and now we'll see the energy consequences of the beliefs patterns here. So regardless of the truth of all the family beliefs, like every one of us have to measure our energy into an act of creation, and every action is having a direct consequence. And when we share belief patterns with groups of people, we are also sharing the energy in those groups, and this is where everyone gets impacted. And this is what that we have to learn, like what we are giving and what we are getting back. And here the other thing is, like, we have to unite in order to create. And at the same time, we have within us a relentless congenital desire to explore our own creative abilities to develop our individual power and authority. The universal human journey is one of becoming conscious of our power and how to use that power. And becoming conscious of the responsibility inherent in the power of personal represents power of choice represents the core of this journey. And also, from an energy perspective, becoming conscious requires stamina. This is extremely, extremely challenging and also very painful because, like, we are the ones who have to evaluate our own personal beliefs because these beliefs are coming from, again, the society, and this was in our roots. And in order to challenge those or in order to observe those, we need to have a tremendous stamina. And change is also inevitable, that we have to welcome change at all times because it is constant. Change is constant. Change is the nature of life, and external and internal change is constant and continuous. So when we change inwardly, we outgrow certain belief patterns and strengthen others. The first belief pattern that we change or we challenge are tribal because our spiritual development follows the structure of our energy system, and where it starts to slowly clear out. So that is why everyone really have to understand the spiritual development and also be very careful of your own energy system where it is getting depleted and how you have to be retroactively aware of what is happening. So our life crisis also states that sometimes, like, we need to break free of beliefs that if it is no longer serves us or our personal development. So at these points, we have to choose to change or to stagnate are our greatest challenges. And every new crossroad means, like, we enter a new cycle of change. And change inevitably means letting go of familiar people and places and moving on to the another stage of life. So here, again, the author have given a very nice example, my dear friends. Like a man called Gerald contacted Caroline, and when immediately Caroline have seen Gerald, she have noticed that there is something that his energy is stagnant at his colon. So when she said to Gerald, Gerald also had the medical tests, and he hesitated to say about that for a moment. But then he later said that he just has been diagnosed with the cancer of the colon. And he said that he needed some help from Caroline in order to come to believe that he really could heal. And part of him is also trying to unplug from his tribe's attitude from cancer, because everyone in the family who had cancer, who have developed cancer, have passed away. So that's why neither he nor his family believed that his cancer could have been healed. And that's why this person was unable to come out of it. He was unable to believe that it could be healed until or unless he met Caroline. So Caroline and he had some therapy sessions. Even they have went through some positive attitude through the visualization sessions and so on. And finally, Gerald had already intuitively recognized that his energy connection to this tribal attitude was the serious problem as the physical illness itself. And this is how, in this healing process, so Gerald enlisted the therapeutic support to help him break free of his tribal patterns about cancer. And he was willing to try every option which is open to him. So this is how we really need to understand where exactly our belief patterns are. And sometimes we should be having that courage in order to break those patterns and really come out. And this is where we really need to be aware of our energy consequences. Next, we'll be seeing the toxic tribal power here. And the first one is the loyalty. And why this is very important for us to know is, again, loyalty is an instinct, and it is an unwritten law that all the tribal members rely upon. I would put not the tribe, because tribal, we always think of old generation people. Maybe I'll just say about here society. So when we are raised with society, we become more influential than even love. And you can feel loyalty toward a family member you do not love. And you can feel loyalty toward people who share your ethnic background, even though you do not know them personally. But an expectation of loyalty from a group holds enormous power over an individual, especially when one feels conflicted over allegiance to someone or some cause that holds great personal values. So let me say the example here, my dear friends, for this. So here the thing is, there was a guy called Tony, who is 32 and is the son of Eastern European immigrants. And when he was 5 years old, his family have moved to United States, and he was one among the seven children. And during those early years of establishing a home in this country, his parents found it extremely difficult to provide the family with all the basic necessities like food, shelter, and so on. So that is why at the age of 8, Tony got a job at the local candy store. So with helping with small maintenance tasks. So eventually, when the Tony is giving money to the family maintenance, he felt very great because the family is very blessed to eat the food and so on. So after 2 months, the boy was bringing home almost $20 a week and feeling very proud of himself. But now the thing is, there was a sudden shift in Tony. What have begun is, in his candy store, the owners have been sexually assaulted him, and he was unable to share this to anyone. And he knew that this frequent encounters with the candy man were immoral, and yet his family was now counting on the monthly household contribution provided by Tony. So that is why he was unable to share about this incident. But finally, he took the courage to share it to his mother. And what the mother did is, she said him to not share this to anyone because she was really afraid. And also, the entire family were counting on his money, of what he's bringing, of how he is supporting. And at the time of 13 years old, he was frequently receiving the encounters, and the effects of this abuse extended him into his student life. So he barely was unable to go to school, and at 15, he was a dropout, and then he became a drunkard. He was addicted. So he began to drink every evening after work. Again, by 16, he became a street fighter, and he was involved in all the street fights. And eventually his family have lost trust on him, and they slowly started to hate him. But then Tony also started a small construction company. So he, along with his 4 men, performed the minor repair works at the neighborhood homes. But always he used to drink and go to their homes and repair. But still, no one still liked him, and no one even treated like to no one liked to work with him. And finally, when Carolyn saw him, they had a conversation, and finally he took the courage to open all the sexual assaults and what has happened to him to Carolyn. And that's how he described his past. And by listening to him, Carolyn came to know that the pain of knowing that his family had not tried to help him was more greater than the pain of the sexual abuse. The pain of family betrayal was destroying him. So his unfinished business now was with his family, not with the Candyman store. So after 2 months, when Tony met Caroline. So she have decided him to go to an alcohol treatment program. And after he completed it, he again contacted Caroline and said the healing impact of those therapy session programs. And now he knew that he would know how to deal with his negative feelings about his family, because he came to a conclusion that even if he was landed in a new country with a new job or with no without knowing anyone, even he would have also behaved the same. That's how he understood the importance also about his family. And he also was ashamed in a way of how he also misunderstood his family completely. And then he went and spoke with his parents, and everyone, they reunited after a long time. And then he was also landing with a good job. He was really supporting his family. And this was really the change that happened. This was the healing of love, and everyone accepted him. And this is the sacrament of baptism, where we say that the family is the main thing. This is one of the really good example, friends, in order to understand what exactly the loyalty is. And now let's know about the honor. So here again, I would just say there was also an example, but before that, a tribe is also bonded not only by the loyalty but also by the honor. So every tribe's core of honor is a combination of religious and ethnic traditions and rituals. And the rituals such as baptism or other tribal blessings energetically bond new members to the group's spiritual power. And it also radiates the strength within us, aligns us, and teach the significance of keeping our word and acting with integrity. So let me again give the example here. What the thing happened with the Sam is, so Caroline met Sam in a workshop where he openly shared his life story. So he had grown in poverty without a father figure. So he desperately needed to be a leader, even if it was a gang leader, which became his way of feeling a sense of honor. So he almost earned $75,000 per week as a major drug dealer. And he had a staff of employees who assisted him in deals involving enormous sum of money. So one day, while driving in his car, Sam turned on the radio to a talk show. And in the talk show, he listened suddenly that there are guardian angels who are watching over us. And that's where he started to linger upon. And while no, like he was completely listening only to the voice of the radio saying that there will be guardian angels who always keeps their eye on, and we all are cared by them. Later, Sam had a problem, and when he's also driving his way back, he got an accident. He was met with an accident. And in this accident, he got injured, and he was unable to walk, or he was unable to heal his legs. And he also couldn't able to handle the pressure anymore because of the drug dealer. And for some reason, he quit. He quit and he moved on with the other stages of the life. So this is where here we also need to be very aware of what we are doing. And suddenly, again, he joined another group, youth group. Even the youth group also started to think that with him, they will be able to make money, and everyone are again thinking like the drug dealers. But then what this guy have done is, so he said to, he thought to all the kids like how they felt or how they feel with the power of money. And then he started slowly to say about the purpose of his life, that his life is getting better, and he started to encourage people with the small things, like the moral stories he would keep on saying to the kids. And he eventually started to heal himself as well. So this is another example for the code of honor, that how things will deplete our energy and how we have to be completely aware of the situations. And then there is also another tribal toxic power, which is the justice. So justice means all of us will be thinking like law of karma, like we think like what goes around comes around, an eye for an eye, or do unto others as you would have to have them to do for you. So it's also something like seeking the revenge for the harmful actions that are without cause, and all that is necessary to protect oneself. Again, here, Caroline have said a beautiful story that we have to know. So the thing is, there was a guy called Eric, where Caroline have met at the workshop in Belgium. So he was silent during the entire workshop, and when it was over, they were going on a ride to Amsterdam. And then Eric had opened up about his life, that his entire life had crashed, that two business partners with whom he was trying to get the couple of business ventures got turned off the ground, announced that the business partners have decided that they no longer want to work with them. And also the business partners have made a settlement offer of $35,000 in the form of cash. And then being disturbed, Eric left the office and went home. And when he went home, his wife also said, like, he wants to have a divorce with him. So Eric said that all of the three partners divorced him on the same day. And again, he was very much in pain. And with that, he slept. And at that night, he had a dream. And in the dream, he was driving a car across the mountains, even during a horrible storm. And the roads were treacherously icy, and he had to cling to the steering wheel in order to keep the car from slipping off the road. And at one point, he lost the control of car. And but somehow he made it across the top of the mountain. And once he was over on the top, the storm was gone and the sun was shining. The roads were dry and safe. So he continued along the road to a small cottage where a candle was burning, and he decided to have a meal, and there was also a warm meal waiting for him. So that day, the guy have decided from the dream to take the partner's offer of all the stocks in the worthless company, because the company was a cat food company. And the car that the guy was driving in the dream was a Jaguar. So what's the thing is, instead of being like a cat, now he needs to run. He will be getting more and more opportunities. And that dream have made him realize to take the cash of $35,000. And he also divorced his wife, and he let go of all the emotions. And then slowly and slowly, opportunities began to come up suddenly. And now he had the most successful companies in Belgium. And he also got married, remarried to the most beautiful partner who shares everything, and with whom he is also having every meaning of the word. And this is what we also need to know, that we have to trust the process instead of thinking like what will happen and why this have happened. This is what all the first chakra is about. These are the examples that where we need to focus on. And finally, we need to really understand the truth that is all is one. And we also need to understand the sacred truth that honor one another. And finally, there are some questions which I will also share in the group, friends. So if anyone wants to really work on the first chakra, please jot down these questions and try to answer by yourself. And then you will be understanding of where you are and what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, or if you are having any unfinished business with your family members, Or are you still getting affected, even by your teacher or your friends? These are all the things that you will be known. And by that, you will also know the archetypal patterns. You will also see the symbolic representation, and you'll start slowly working on it. So this is what for today, friends. So we have covered the first chakra, which is the tribal power.